My guest is here. So let's start things off. Let's get things going. So I have a very special guest for you guys. So I'm glad all of you are here in the chat. We're going to just dump right in. You know him very, very well. He is a staple here in these Twitch streets. He has a whole lot of sessions going on, the at-home sessions, the stay-at-home sessions, the remix sessions, the what is it now? Freestyle Friday sessions. Yes, you know exactly who I'm talking about. The one and only DJ Agile.
What up, cuz?
What up, cuz? I want to talk to you about being a producer. You've been a DJ for umpteen time. What was the deciding factor that made you transition or add music production to your roster?
It was something like what I always wanted to do, right? Like when I was growing up and really into hip hop, it was Pete Rock and CL Smooth, specifically Pete Rock, who at the time he played Friday nights on BLS there in New York.
Yeah, New York.
New York with Marley Marl. And I didn't know at the time that I kind of knew that Marley Marl was a producer and a DJ. And obviously, anything Marley Marl made, like, Juice Crew, LL Cool J stuff, big fan. But the Pete Rock stuff, I dove off the deep end with that. And so Pete Rock was a DJ and a producer and a rapper. And I was like, I want to do that.
All right. So just to give people a basic overview, can you just give us like what's the defining difference between being a DJ and being a producer? Or is it like intertwined? Do they kind of go hand in hand? Do they mix up and thing? Is it like
Absolutely. They absolutely. It's like a mask and a glove. You know what I mean?
Oh gosh, Nads.
Good luck with that, Nads. They work well with each other, right? I mean, there's a reason why a lot of the greatest record producers in tons of different genres, a lot of them start off as DJs. Rick Rubin, who's produced for Red Hot Chili Peppers and Jay-Z and Beastie Boys, and everything, started as a DJ in college. Right? There's just something about DJing that there's something about DJing where, I mean, as part of the work is performative. You're performing, you're playing for people. You're putting on a musical performance.
Right.
There's an absolute huge learning curve if you're trying to properly DJ. Right? I'm not talking about these celebrity DJs that throw a couple things in their iTunes and go out and press buttons and then shake their fist and
yeah, woo!
Not that. I'm talking like really DJing, like learning the songs, learning the structure of the song, putting the songs together, doing some cool shit like wordplay or tone play. There's this big thing called mixed in key. Right? Which is a software, but before that, I mean, the DJs in the chat can attest to this. You try to mix songs that sonically soothe. They complement each other, right?
Okay.
You don't want to have a mix where they're clashing because one's in one musical scale and the other one's in a different one, and they're not harmonious together, right? When that's huge in house. Like house was like the first genre that really drove that home. And everybody stole from that. So, you want to make sure that it's soothing and pleasant to the ear.
Right.
And I think that teaches you as a musician, as someone creating a composition, if you understand those sensibilities, those song structures, energy, right? Because part of DJing too is, and you'll notice this when you go fete and you go dance, right? The better parties, if you watch the DJ all night, the DJ is not doing this and their head is in the records for the whole night. They're doing this. They're looking around. They might be
the crowd.
catching a wine, playing, but they're heads
Drinking.
up, right? They're like, they're looking at the crowd. They're looking this way. They're looking that way. They're feeling the vibes. They're
Yeah.
reading the crowd, right?
Yeah.
And instinctively, as you do that, you're doing two things, right? As a DJ, you're reading to see what people are receptive to, so you understand, maybe where to go, in terms of future songs for the rest of the night.
Right.
And another thing too is sometimes you're doing tests. You're doing little litmus tests, right? You're like, okay, I just played a semi-deep tune, and these people went off. Can I go deep? Can I go deep here and dive into the cliff and start really flinging tunes? Right?
Yeah.
And I think part of that too teaches you as a beat maker, like as you start something and it starts unfolding, whatever your process is. Some people have ideas and then sit down and do them. Some people sit down and freestyle. I'm like a 90% freestyler. 10% of the time I'll have an idea, whatever. I might sing it into the phone or beatbox it into the phone.
Yeah.
And I'll sit there and I'll fling the file into my DAW digital audio workstation and then build around that.
Okay.
Right? But the other 90%, I'm just sitting down and I'm touching, like you guys can't see. You can see the pianos right here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'll be sitting down, I'll be like, and I'll be playing and catching a vibe.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then sometimes as I'm figuring out, I'm like, oh, I like that vibe. I know what that vibe is. And that's kind of like looking around when I'm DJing, because when I figure out what that vibe is and that's what I want to go with, I know where to go. Right. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, this is on some pop shit. I'm going to go pop. This is up here. Or like, oh, that chord is deep. It's a B minor 7 with an augmented ninth. I'm like, oh, shit. We diving in deep, right? So the two of them worked hand in hand, and I always wanted to do both because Pete Rock was doing both. I'm like, that guy DJs and makes the beats. I'm like, I want to do that. So they kind of just they work hand in hand, and I think, I always encourage like a lot of people who just DJ to start making music because it'll make them a better DJ, and vice versa. People who are just producers, I encourage them also pick up DJing. I'm not saying go out and play a dance, but I'm just like, get a little controller and make your own little mixes for your friends or whatever, or party rock at home. Okay. Because that will, trust me, it'll make you a better music producer.
Like DJ Casey Music said, I'm going to highlight his comment again. If I can find it. Where'd it go? Here you are. He said, it's the difference between being a DJ and a me-J.
If I'm playing like this the whole night, I'm playing for me.
Right.
I'm only flinging tunes for me, which is great for me. You know what I mean?
But if you're at an event, a venue where there's other people and they want to feel the vibes, and they ain't really feeling the vibes, then are you really doing your job?
Facts.
Right. For full episodes, go to Twitch for Behind the Mic.